Right, it's great to have you join us on another edition of the only weekend business program on Channels Television, Capital Market Live. Well, it's the first one for February. I'm Ladi Williams. Let's begin the show with some major news this week. Well, that's the sound of the closing bell to signal the close of trading at the Nigerian exchange earlier this week, being rung by the governor of Gombe State, Mr. Inuwa Yaya. Governor Inuwa says he visited the exchange to explore how the state can harness the capital market to stimulate sustainable development. The Gombe State governor, during the closing ceremony, announced the state government's plans to raise about 30 billion naira from the capital market through issuance of green bonds.
The Green Bond is an initiative aimed at raising funds in order to finance eco-friendly and environmentally friendly investments, especially in assets that will contribute to restoration and upliftment of human life, so that we can reduce the impacts of climate change and global warming. And we aim to do so that we raise funds. We are expecting to raise about 30 billion naira for the start, and we may break it into segments, but that's our intention. And we're sure with the support we saw and the acceptance that we've gotten from the floor and from the key stakeholders, we are going to hit our target.
As is some trade news now, the federal government, through the Nigeria Customs Service, has increased the rate for import duties by 43%. The latest development follows the recent upward adjustment of the exchange rate at the foreign exchange market by the central bank from 951 naira 84 kobo to 1,356 naira 42 kobo against the dollar. The increase, which is the fourth time just over a year, also comes after the customs increased import duties by as much as 22.24% in December last year. And to the financial services sector, Nigeria's central bank has announced its decision to stop daily debit of cash reserve ratio for commercial banks. In a statement released, the financial market regulator said it will now be adopting an updated CRR mechanism that is intended to facilitate banks' capacity for planning, monitoring, and aligning with its records. The latest decision by the CBN means commercial banks in the country will retain more customer deposits. It's also expected to serve as a significant boost for Nigerian companies in need of cash to finance their activities. Meanwhile, Nigeria's central bank has directed deposit money banks in the country to harmonize reporting requirements on foreign currency exposures. According to the latest guidelines released by the financial market regulator, the move aims to curb forex speculation and risk mitigation for the foreign exchange market. He also cautioned banks against stockpiling foreign currencies solely for profit, which it views as one of the major factors contributing to the fluctuations in exchange rates. In addition, the CBN has also directed deposit money banks to offload their excess dollar reserves. That was earlier this week and for the 1st of February 2024. And straight to the markets now. The unlisted OTC exchange ended in the green for the week as the market's key index recorded a 6.31% increase, while the market's capitalization also rose by the same margin, which translates about 90 billion naira in value terms over the previous week close. The gains were supported by 6 advances, which are Aridel Holdings, Food Concepts, Aecon Petroleum, NIPCO, Afroland Properties, and FC Wamco, which have set the loss in IGI. However, the volume of securities traded on the OTC exchange dropped by 28.72%. Value traded was up by 119%, while the number of deals carried out from 12 securities fell by 23.30%. Joining us to discuss the market and issues arising is Mr. Ewaride Longa, Managing Director, NASD OTC Exchange, joining us right here in the studio. Good evening.
Good evening, Ladi.
Great to have you share your Saturday with us.
Very happy to do that always.
So, definitely, the Naira, the spotlight this week, and we're getting circular upon circular from the CBN and on the bid to stabilize the FX market and also the financial services, sector. Talk to me about what you've seen so far from the CBN this week.
So what I like about what the CBN has done is that they've held the line. The government has held the line. I think that the policy to determine the naira by willing buyer, willing seller, that is, sort of float the exchange rate, float the exchange rate, is a positive policy, but there are impediments in between, of course, supply. So you could run and panic and say, look, I'll reverse because there's so much hardship everywhere. But I think that it is sensible to hold the line and find the right ways to organize the market so that it corrects the lack of symmetry, so that you can then allow the policy to begin to feed on itself and bring stability to the market. It might take some time, but I like what the CBN has done. I think that we're moving in the right direction.
And definitely, companies will be feeling the impact, of all of these circulars we've seen.
Yes.
Basically. But what are you seeing short term for the financial services sector?
Okay, so short term, I think that there's going to be, the naira situation has been very beneficial to the deposit money banks. Of course, the capital market seems to be gaining from this as well, but I believe that the financial services market cannot feed on itself. It has to link up with the real sector. And the fact that you see these assets grow would seem to signify to me that there is a bubble in the offing. So you must have the undergirding of the real sector to see that the financial sector actually grows sustainably. That's what I feel, but right now we're simply just trading assets.
Just trading assets.
Yes.
All right, talk to me. What are you seeing for the naira, say, for the short term? But at the end of the day, we're all trying to strengthen the naira here, and a lot of activities are contributing to the weakness, at this point. Sometimes I say we're all to blame.
Yes, we're all to blame. So I think that the real challenge, this is the reason why I think CBN has done the right thing. The real challenge is, think about it, if there was an attack on one's home, and you call 767 and you don't get a response. That's what the naira is like. So we're all exposed. We want the government to do something about it. The government has said it will send the cavalry, but the cavalry hasn't come. So everybody has decided that they're going to self-help. So that's the reason why it's going in the direction it's going in. But with these actions of the CBN, people are beginning to feel governments. And this will seep in. I can't predict where the naira will go if you would ask me to do that. I think we're all beneficiaries for a stronger currency.
Right.
So with these steps, perhaps people begin to become more confident and do not precipitously change their local currency to the dollar so that they can preserve value. So if people begin to believe that, the naira will be supported, or it will find its level by proper market structuring, you'd find out that it begins to find its level, and we exit panic mode. Right. We're in panic mode currently.
Yeah, panic mode definitely is not a good time,
yes.
For an investor.
Yes.
Because especially when you're investing in a particular currency, you're investing in the home currency at this point.
Yes.
And you would feel like somehow if you were in the dollar, you'll be better off. But when you convert to the naira and you go to the markets, all of that, gets consumed. And
yes.
definitely somehow the wage earners, feel the pinch.
Yes.
Even more. But talk to me now. Definitely, this is going to impact investor sentiment.
Yes.
Looking at what's happening, with the naira. Well, what are you seeing, as regards investments?
So I think maybe we should localize our focus on the capital markets.
Right.
And we can see that there are some investors that recognize that home is where they will thrive. So they're looking to make sense of the stock exchanges. I think that they're beginning to pick and choose winners. But I think that there's also such a drive to be able to create positive real return, such that it has driven the prices in that direction. So midweek, there seemed to be a flag. I think it was Thursday or Wednesday. There was a flag. The market seemed to retreat, but it bounced back. I think I was happy that there was some resilience created in the demand on the market. I am not sure that that demand is going to be sustained in the long term. I think that a lot of other things need to be done to create the confidence, and there's a need also to value appropriately, right? Not to chase asset growth, but to store value, right? And I think that with the results coming in, people are going to self-adjust, because some of the more of the real sector companies, consumer goods, and the other sectors are going to find that you're going to see that it's the Naira and the inflation experience has impacted on them significantly. And there won't be very positive results. But those results are in the rite of passage.
Right.
And we think that in time, they will correct. I think that we're going in the right direction. It doesn't look like it. There's so much suffering in the land. There's so much pressure. But what needs to happen is that you must have a method. It's important to have a method. Stick with the method.
Right.
And if the method you're sticking with does not seem to be delivering the results, don't change the method until you have good reason to find a different method.
And if you were not an investor,
Yes.
before now, or you weren't trading stocks or any of that,
Yes.
definitely with the cost of living crisis, I do not think that would be the first thing on your mind to go buy, some equity hoping to make profit. That would definitely dent that prospect of getting new investors in, don't you think?
Yeah, right. So disposable income there's no income to dispose anymore.
Right.
That's the truth. So you're saying that you won't find a lot of investors coming, but I think that there is the need to begin to create retail channels for cross-border investing. And that would happen with digital assets. But people have to feel confident that the proposition of a digital asset channel will not break down. I'm not saying crypto, I'm talking about real world assets that can be tokenized. So I guess if you had some kind of channel where people could exchange their international currency for the local currency to meet needs in a transparent way. Right? You don't need to speak to too many intermediaries. There's a lot of interesting things happening in trying to fund foreign currency payments that, if you did have a channel, could change a lot of that. If you see that happening seamlessly, you would find that the capital market begins to grow from those channels, because there are some people who, because of the currency advantage, can buy up local equities without a sweat.
And definitely, it's quite incredible that even in times like these, you still have investors that are still making good returns.
Oh, definitely.
At some point, they know what they're doing. But not an easy market, but we'll continue the conversation right after this break. I've been speaking to Mr. Ewaride Elonge, MD, NASD OTC Exchange, and definitely we have a lot to still cover right after this break. Just stay with us. This is Capital Market. Welcome back. Well, let's get some company news now. See, I've got some results, some audited, some unaudited earlier in the week. Well, see, Boa Food released its full-year financial performance report for 2023, which shows the company's revenue came in higher at 74.13% when compared to the results of 2022. At the same time, the gross revenue jumped by over 89% to more than 250 billion naira. Pre-tax profit rose by 12.69%. After-tax profit increased by 22%, while its earnings per share climbed over 22%. Flipping over to listed energy sector giant Geregu Power PLC announced a remarkable 110% surge in operating profit in its recently released 2023 audited financial statement, which grew from 14.8 billion to 31 billion naira. According to the financial performance for the year ended 31st, 2023, the company recorded impressive gains across various metrics as its revenue climbed by 74% from 47.6 billion to 83 billion naira. At the same time, company also recorded a 61% rise in profit before tax, which increased from 15.1 billion to 24.3 billion, demonstrating the firm's financial resilience. Meanwhile, the company's board has proposed a dividend of 20 billion naira for the year under review. And to Transcore now, we see the listed company there, Indigenous Conglomerates Transnational Corporation, released its unaudited financial statement for the year 2023. According to the report sent to the NGX, the group, which has holdings in energy, real estate, hospitality, and agriculture, recorded a 44% increase in its revenue, contrast to 134 billion naira posted in the same period in 2022. Further highlights of financial performance results shows that the group's gross profit surged by 60%, pre-tax was higher by 82%, and the after-tax profit soared by 102%. All right, and talking about equities on the NGX, they ended the week with impressive gains despite 2 sessions of significant profit-taking activities by investors. The all-share index closed with 5 trading sessions with 1.97% increase, which brings its year-to-date performance to 39.6%, while the total value of listed equities closed the week higher by 2% to above 57 trillion naira. These gains were largely driven by bellwether equities from industrial goods, consumer goods, which countered the impact of losses from peers in the banking, insurance, as well as the oil and gas sector of the NGX. The share price of Triple G topped the list of 27 gainers for the week with a 42.05% increase. Dow Communications led 63 other losers with over 22% decline on its share price, while the trio of FBN Holdings, Transcore, and UBA led contributors to a total of 3.89 billion shares traded, more than 95 billion naira this week. All right, I still have with me right here in the studio Mr. Waride Longe, MD, NASD OTC Exchange. Thank you for staying on. And yeah, looking at the NGX, it's been new highs, at this time. And I'm wondering if we're seeing what trend we're seeing at the NASD OTC Exchange.
So the NASD has done 17.35% this year, which in perspective is 180% annualized. So yes, there's been a knock-on effect on all the markets. The usual suspects, I think you mentioned them in your lead comment. Those companies are powering on. People are looking for value in those areas. That's positive for us because it means that you can actually attract other companies to come onto the NASD to look for sources or for capital raise.
Right, and definitely, coming into 2023, if anyone told us the equities markets would end the year so good and also start 2024, this way, I'm wondering if this will continue throughout the end of 2024. What are you seeing? Because the headwinds are still there.
I think certainly not. And that's not a good thing to say for my market.
Right.
But I always like to be realistic. So what you must have underneath all of this is not assets growth. You need to have business growth. I think that's very important. So people are looking to buy assets that create real return, like I've said. So they're just shopping anywhere. So they're shopping anywhere. They listen to the last thing that the company did. I see some very positive results that you've posted. And that's encouraging, and then you get dividends, and that's positive. But what you want to say is, how is this impacting on the broader economy? To the extent that it isn't impacting on the broader economy.
Because the equities market is still the gauge.
It is supposed to be. It is supposed to be.
Right.
But if you say that the equities market is 18% of the GDP, then it can't be. So, however, when people want to invest money, they think about markets like this. So what you want to find is that people, you want to see improved earnings, that is disposable income, like we spoke about. You want to see that companies are growing intrinsically across board, so that there's actually investment flow that comes to the market that can be sustained. Much of what is going on is speculative, and that you can't speculate till the end of the year. It's all speculative, so you just look to see, where can I put money? What is trending today? I hope the lines will hold, because the alternatives are not many. But I've been in this market for quite a while, and there's a nostalgic feeling I have of 2009.
Right. The dreaded.
So I tell you a very interesting story. So in 2008 or 2009 now, when the market was growing practically every day, so some people postponed the exits from the market. I had one interesting character who wanted to buy a Ferrari, and he said to himself that by the end of the next week, he would have made enough money to buy a Ferrari. I think he didn't buy a Beetle at the end of the day, because the market tanked before that happened. I don't think that's what's going to happen now. But
some say the dynamics have changed.
I suspect that there will be a market correction, right? I think the market correction will be to slow down this bull run, and then people would look for bargains. When the results come in, there would be trades to earn after earning dividends, perhaps, and then I think that the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, if it is going to happen on the 26th,
the first one for 2024.
Exactly, it's going to change. It's going to signal very clearly the direction of the fixed income market. When that happens, I think things will then begin to adjust themselves in a sustainable way.
Right. Well, we're definitely looking out for all of that. But talk to me about what to expect for the NASD in 2024. What are we seeing for regulation? Any new ideas from technology front?
Okay, so for the NASD, we have thought to find the unique position we occupy. And we think that we occupy that position where you can actually find companies that are not that popular, or companies that are budding companies, and look for or an appropriate way to help them to find funds. Because if you have an SME business, you might be shy of going to the banks. There may be many things that they ask you that you cannot deliver. So you want to be able to come to a platform where you can actually find this money in a seamless way. We can actually be the intermediaries to those deposit money banks who have SME departments. So you can actually, we have a platform called the NASD Enterprise Portal for smaller companies that are not discovered, that you can actually see grow into bigger companies. They become the feed for the more established markets. So that's what we've built a model. We're bringing companies through in sectors that we think are real sector companies, real sector areas, so that we can see real growth come into our capital markets and begin to build. That's the kind of thing we're trying to do. On the other side, we also see the digital securities market. I mean, and there's too much of a buzz about digital securities. I know that your bits covers the crypto market,
right.
You know, so many people are saying to themselves, now that the CBN has unbanned crypto, what's the capital market doing about that? I think crypto is a bit brittle for our markets, but you can actually have securitized assets placed on our markets. I mean, and that's one of the things that NASD has been permitted to do with the NASD Digital Securities Portal,
right,
put in incubation by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And we're beginning to see, we would see some real estate tokenization happen there and some other interesting things.
Yeah, it'd be great to just buy real estate on the blockchain and
yes, exactly.
Claim ownership or even securities and all of that. It'd be great to see that happen, and I'm sure it's going to happen soon.
Yes,
we're all expectant.
It's imminent, and we also want to see how we can actually find a coin solution,
right,
to assisting with the exchange adjustments.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great having this conversation with you, Mr. Waride Longe, MD, NASD OTC Exchange. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Those are the top stories for this week, and that's how the markets, that's how your money performed this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. I'll see you next time.